Budweiser Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Pizza Hut, home of pan pizza that's winning the hearts of America. And by True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. And now let's meet tonight's top 5 finalists. Starting from the bottom of the ladder, it's 6-time PBA champion Ski Fensky of Conroe, Texas. His opponent in match number 1 is 50-year-old Wayne Johnson, making his first ever appearance in the championship round. Qualifying third this week, left-hander Daryl Curtis of Seattle, Washington. Starting from the runner-up position here at Lone Star Lanes, it's 51-year-old Alan Choder. While John Handegard of Redding, California, is making his 3rd consecutive appearance in the championship round, he'll need to win just 1 game in order to capture his first ever PBA Senior Championship. And welcome, everyone, to Lone Star Lanes in Texas City, Texas, for the championship round finals of the $75,000 Hammer Senior Open. Hi, everyone. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to the 12th and final PBA Summer Tour telecast on ESPN here in the Lone Star State. Once again here, we've done that 3 or 4 times this summer. Working with me once again is PBA Hall of Famer Mike Durbin. And Mike, we do have a diversified cast here on the show this evening. Players that hook it from all different types of angles. I guess that's basic testimony to the fact that the PBA Summer Tour, especially the seniors, is becoming more competitive.
I have to agree with you, Den. We make our first cut in this tournament to our top 24 players. In our top 24 this week, only 3 had ever won a PBA tournament, and such great names as Dick Weber, Jimmy Certain, Tita Semez, and last week's champion Les Sykes didn't make it into the top 24 this week. So the senior tour has got new faces this week, and they're talented also.
Let's get specifically to the top seed, John Handegard. Been a PBA member for the better part of 21 years, although he has not toured that long, and has had a couple of chances to win the PBA national title. He's never ended up in the winner's circle. He's an outstanding player. My question to you is, why hasn't he won?
Well, that's a question in a lot of people's minds. My personal opinion is that John is the type of player that works into a rhythm, and it takes him a little while to work into that rhythm. He's a meticulous player. I think he's a perfectionist. So when he comes out and has to bowl that 1 game and make those adjustments and try and be loose and free, he's not been able to do it so far, and I don't know whether he'll be able to do it tonight.
A virtual unknown, Alan Choder, qualifies number 2. An unusual style, but he knows how to get the job done.
Well, the thing with Alan is that early this week, after the first 12 games, he was 81 pins under a 200 average. Then for the last 24 games, he averaged well over 220 and only bowled 1 game under 200 for those last 24 games. So he definitely found something, and anybody that can strike like that is a threat tonight.
Positioned right in the middle of the stack is left-hander Daryl Curtis, a player who has already finished 2nd on the Seniors Tour. He could win this one.
Well, I think Daryl's biggest asset is that he's loose and free. He's kind of the opposite of John Handegard. So when he just has this loosey-goosey attitude, gets up there, and if the pins fall, fine. If they don't, well, he'll get them again next time. So if he maintains that loose attitude, he may just get hot and win 3 games tonight.
Mike, hats off to the number 4 qualifier, Wayne Johnson. He started off the final round of match play in 15th place. Won all 6 matches and qualified number 4.
And he just missed the championship round last week. He lost in the position round, or he would have made it last week. But the thing is that impressed me the most about Wayne Johnson is he's won 4 regional titles throwing a full roller. 4 years ago, he switched to a 3/4 roller to try and do better, and he's doing it tonight.
And a player that you are very familiar with, qualifying in the number 5 position, left-hander Ski Fensky is the only player on the telecast that's won a national title. Does he have an edge?
Well, I don't know if he has an edge because he has to win 4 games tonight. But I think what Ski is thinking, if he believes in omens, is today is his birthday. He's 53 today, so he's hoping for a nice birthday present of 4 wins tonight and the championship of the Hammer Senior PBA Open here in Texas City.
Well, there's no way he can turn back the hands of time. He'll hope to get to the championship game this evening. But before we get to the title match here in the Lone Star State, match number 1 coming up next between Ski Fensky and Wayne Johnson. The PBA Senior Tour on ESPN coming up next.
Retailers like me are doing our part to help fight muscular dystrophy, and you can too. With every Budweiser or Bud Light you buy through Labor Day, you'll help make a contribution. So come on, join the team.
When it comes to home fix-ups, don't play games. Make the right move to a True Value hardware store. Work anywhere with their Master Mechanic 3/8-inch cordless reversing drill and screwdriver for just $29.99. Replace your old kitchen faucet with this durable Master Plumber model for only $18.95. And see your work in a new light with this Master Electrician portable fluorescent utility light. It's just $14.99 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
The Vector series, a revolutionary new concept. The Vector, for the person seeking pro roll and increased pin carry. The secret lies within. In traditional balls, the weight block is toward the outer surface. In the Vector 1, it's closer to the heart of the ball. In the Vector 2, next to the heart. The revolutions increase, giving you maximum striking power. The Vector series, from Columbia 300, sold only in lanes and pro shops.
Applause, applause.
And welcome back, everyone, to Lone Star Lanes in Texas City, Texas, the Lone Star State, for the championship round finals of the $75,000 Hammer Senior Open. Wayne Johnson, Steve Feremsky in game number 1, and many people that have watched the bowling throughout the years remember this gentleman. He's put on more than one electrifying performance.
One time he bowled 807 for 3 games on television in Las Vegas, which was a PBA record for a long time.
Well, you want to see some quick feet. Watch this first shot.
Kept him pretty slow that time.
Nice and smooth. How about a little help? Not going to happen. 7-pin wiggles around, doesn't quite fall down, so Feremsky hits the pocket with shot number 1.
Quality shot. Of course, Ski was always a quality player out of the PBA Tour. Retired in the late 70s.
Bowled 9 years full-time, won 6 national titles, and nearly $250,000 in prize money. Doesn't sound like a lot right now, but 15 years ago it was some cold hard cash.
Well, it was back when they were paying $3,000 first, Denny.
That's right.
And he gives the fans a thrill there, right in the edge down there for the 7-pin. He says, no problem, had it all the way.
First good look at Wayne Johnson, just 50 years of age, and he'll be a blur out there this evening. Won't waste any time getting his ball and throwing his shot. Tries to start off with a good one. Excellent shot, and he strikes on the right-hand lane, lane 22, the championship round pair, 21 and 22.
And Wayne is, I think he's so excited about being on today's telecast that he can hardly stand it. That heart right now after that opening strike has got to be going at a minimum of 130 miles an hour.
Boy, he came back a long way last night. He was 15th heading into the final 6 games and won all 6 games and ended up vaulting himself into the number 4 slot. Looking for the quick double, and Johnson throws an excellent shot on lane 21, leaves the solid 10.
The lanes are very tight, and the left lane for the right-handers seems to hook a little bit more, where it's just the opposite for the left-handers. The right lane is hooking a little bit more. Wayne throwing this slow speed, Denny, that's to his advantage. It gives him a little room to the right because of the just soft speed and soft roll that he has.
Average 243 on the championship round pair. Bowled only 1 game on lanes 21 and 22 and took advantage of the situation. Cross lane for the 10, no problem there. So Johnson with a strike and a spare off to a comfortable start.
Very good start. I mean, could have been a double real easy.
Ski Feremsky hailing from Conroe, Texas, northeastern portion of Houston.
Not far from here.
Right, about 45 minutes. Gets it into the swing pretty early, and a break of sorts. Leaves only the 3-pin.
Ski's 5-step forward. Let's take a look at it from behind. He starts with the right foot here. 1, 2, 3. Quick steps in there. Nice slide. Wants to steer it a little bit at that point, and that's why the ball didn't make it up. Cross lane at the 3-pin. No trouble.
He averaged just a fraction better than 211 throughout the week, averaged 221 here on the championship fair, and compiled a match play record of 10 wins and 8 losses.
And he was near the top all week long, Dan. Very consistent this week.
Really just coming into his own on the senior tour as well. This is the first championship round appearance for him, but we're likely to see him back here again before too long.
You would think so. I mean, somebody bowled as well as he did on the national tour. I expected him to make it before this.
Well, he liked that one when it left his hand, and so did his wife, Barb. He got robbed the first time around, but he kind of swishes the rack on lane 21.
And he's moving immediately. As soon as he throws this shot, he starts running left. He knew it was coming. Watch the 5-pin as it goes into the 10 and gets it. And here's Ski's reaction. Back to live action. Wayne Johnson doesn't want to run out too many of them, Dan. He's not animated at all like Ski Faremsky is.
Well, he's 2 for 2 on the right-hand lane. Both hits have been flush.
All 3 hits have been flush. The only thing is the 10-pin didn't fall on the left lane. By the way, everybody tonight that had the choice initially chose to finish on the left lane.
The lane that hooks a little more for the right-handers.
Correct.
Wonder how it reacts for the lefties.
It's tighter for the lefties.
Okay. Well, this one cutting through the heart of the head pin just at the last moment. Very close match indeed. That would have been the first opportunity for a double as Johnson leaves the 4-7. By now, I'm sure the nerves have settled in a little bit, and he realizes he's in the thick of a match.
Right. Ahead by 1 pin after 3.5 frames, if assuming he makes this 4-7.
Well, he waited to take a look for just a moment. So the 50-year-old from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, leads by 1 here early on in game number 1 from Texas City.
One of the great advantages of doing business with a firm like Schwab is that you're dealing with professionals across the whole country. They're creating financial advantages for the individual investor.
Many of our customers transfer their other brokerage accounts to Schwab because we make it easy. We help the customer complete the right form, they sign them, and we do the rest. It's that simple.
Call today for free information about Schwab services. 800-873-7900.
Hey, is that Don Mattingly?
Nope.
Look, it's Cal Ripken.
Guess again.
The AJD Cap Company presents authentic Major League Baseball signature caps featuring 80 of your favorite players' names, numbers, and signatures. Take it from me, Mel Allen, they're sure to become collector's items. To order yours, just call 1-800-221-1200. Hey, isn't that Dwight Gooden?
Nice try.
And without question, one of a kind, Mr. Harry Golden, the national tournament director on the PBA Tour for a record 29 consecutive years.
And that medallion around his neck is a gift from all the touring players. About 10 years ago, they gave that to him, and he wears it everywhere. I think he sleeps with it.
Yeah, that's right. I've got some money invested in that as well when I was on the PBA National Tour back in 1981. All right, let's take a look at the finalists by round. For Handy, it was tied for 20th after the opening set, and then from then on out, he decided he was going to be number 1.
He got right into that top bracket, especially into the match play portion of the tournament. Darrell Curtis was hanging around the top 5 all week long.
Boy, look at Schroeder. Not a chance in the world after 2 rounds. That just goes to show you that perseverance does pay off.
Hung right in there and just moved right up the ladder.
Ski Faremsky finds himself trailing by 1. Could change the scenario quickly, though, if he doubles here in the 4th.
Just not quite enough lift on the fingers to knock out that 7-pin.
Well, he was leaning backwards, had a little wiggle from the 7 that time, and as I chatted with Ski prior to the telecast, he said if he does one thing particularly well, it's match play bowling.
And you see the 4-pin just try to get out of the channel there and knock down the 7, but couldn't do it. Cross lane at the 7-pin for Ski. He's already made 1 of these. And made 2 of them now. Never a doubt.
Basically 1.5, I think we could say. Nice adjustment, though, as he left the 3-pin the first shot on that right-hand lane. Came back and hit the pocket. Still trails by 1 after 4 frames. Good look graphically at how this one stands. It's tight, Michael.
Can't get much closer, then.
Nope. Was kidding Ski before. I said, "Do you remember the last time you won?" He said, "Yeah, it was in black and white." Is that a great line or what? 1974. There was color in 74. Just pulling my leg. Trying to come back with a strike on the left-hand lane, and not exactly what he wanted there. Maybe a little quick.
Wow, 3, 5, 6, 10. I got to make sure I get all my pins right here. Not an easy spare. It'll be interesting to see how he shoots it, whether he tries to hit 3, 5 on the left side and have the 5 hit the 6 and the 6 hit the 10, or whether he tries to go what we call on the Brooklyn side of it, on the right. I figure he'll play conventional and try and hit the 3, 5 flush on the left. Danger with that, though, is sometimes you leave the 10 on a seemingly perfect hit. And he chops the 5.
So the first open provided by Fensky in the 5th, and Johnson, while sitting on the bench, gains a 16-pin advantage.
And you see some of the difference between seniors and touring players. He just stroked this shot at it where touring players would have thrown it 100 miles an hour right at it.
The different style for the touring players, throw it harder and straighter. Johnson tries to jump on the opportunity, and up stands a solid 7-pin.
Get a look at that. You're going to see the 2-pin go right, clip the 4, and go right in front of that 7 off the wall.
Very bad break there for Wayne Johnson, who wanted me to make sure that I said hello to his daughter Lori before we were all said and done here this evening. So she's probably on the edge of her chair right now, and after that shot has probably thrown something at the television screen. But a spare up for Father Wayne in the 5th.
Father Wayne?
Yep. 15-pin lead at the halfway stage. Darrell Curtis next in line, a senior from Seattle, Washington. Alan Choder qualifying number 2, and John Handegard, the top seed after 36 games this week.
And he's nervous. A little more room. And the 10-pin.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I talked to Alan Choder a while ago, and he said, "Denny, I hit the pocket all week long. I had no trouble, but knocking down those corner pins was very, very difficult to do it on a consistent basis." What tip do you have, Mike, for trying to get the 10 to the 7 out?
Denny, if I knew that, I'd still be out there bowling. So, I mean, of course, I'm a little young yet for this book. Sometimes it's varying the speed. When you start fooling around with that, though, a lot of times that 10 gets company. I mean, touring players nowadays would switch balls, I would think, if they're to try and carry, maybe swing it a little bit more and try and get it to arc a little bit more at the back end, that type of thing.
Senior players might move a little on the approach, maybe 3 or 4 inches up, 3 or 4 inches back.
Yeah, some players fool around with moving forward and back. I never was a big advocate of that, although some guys have had good success with it. I know John Jowdy believes in doing that for leaving 10 pins, move a little bit back and let the ball get a little more roll.
I used to do that a little bit, and of course you saw what it did for my game.
Well, it must be the thing to do then.
Oh, early retirement. That one rolls out early through the nose, and Fensky happy at this point with the 8 count.
See, the weak 7 caused that the time before. He wanted to get it up there flush because he wouldn't trust it to hit half pocket and knock out that 7-pin. And he flirted with missing the 7-pin the last time he had that. And this time he's got the 4-7. He's running out of frames here, even though he's only down 14 pins. He's making only 1 strike in 6 frames. He doesn't look like he's throwing the ball with that much authority right now.
It's interesting you mention that, Mike, because when I was talking with Skis, I feel like I'm a very good match play bowler. I could be 30 or 40 pins down with 5, 6 frames to go, and it doesn't bother me at all. I think through the years, that was probably one of my greatest assets. Let's see if history repeats itself.
Let's see.
better speed. And an excellent shot for Fensky, who strikes in the 7th and will try and get something going when we return here to Lone Star Lanes. In Texas City, Texas, Fensky on the move, but Wayne Johnson will be up in the 7th when we return to the Hammer Open.
How far can you drive your car on Phillips 66 Trop Arctic?
100,000 miles.
Just by changing your oil every 3,000 miles?
Okay, more than 100,000 miles.
Oh, sure, Trop Arctic can protect your engine in the heat and the cold, but over 100,000 miles?
How about 200,000 miles?
Come on, how far can you really drive on Trop Arctic?
250,000 miles so far.
Phillips 66 Trop Arctic. Long live your car.
Dickies thinks you dads out there are pretty special. And we all know there are no two dads alike. Each dad has that special something, could be anything, that makes him different from all the rest. But when it comes to pants, dads don't have to be different. Dickies have that traditional style that never goes out of style, and since 1922, they've been a standard for dads the world over. No matter what kind of dad you have, treat him to a pair of Dickies, available every day at our famous low prices. Dickies for someone special. Made with 412 polyester from Fiber Industries.
What if the NFL's legendary teams could battle to determine football's best ever? It's no longer a dream. It's the most unique and revolutionary concept in television sports history. NFL Dream Season. Scrambling Roger Staubach tries to shut down the Fridge. The 77 Cowboys face the 85 Bears on the premiere of NFL Dream Season. Sunday night at 8 Eastern, only on ESPN.
And you're looking at a man that Mike and I both are indebted to, the public relations director of the Professional Bowlers Association. He puts up with us each and every week and provides us with all the information we need to do our jobs.
And the man who puts more air travel miles than anyone else I know.
Oh, yeah, he's tops of all time. I mean, this guy goes for 500,000 or 600,000 a year, does a tremendous job, and if you're going to say hello to Kevin, you better do it quickly because he is never in the same spot for more than a couple of minutes.
Wayne Johnson's not one spot too long either as he leaves a 4-pin.
Well, he's done nothing but hit the pocket.
It doesn't have much to show for it, doesn't he? Although he's ahead by 13 pins. This game kind of, it's like the senior players is kind of going along in slow motion here, Dan. I mean,
I'm glad you said that, and it wasn't me. Just with tongue-in-cheek. What are you, 48 now?
Almost there, yes.
Almost 40.
I'm slowing down quickly.
I understand. It's fading quickly, I guess, huh? All right, Wayne Johnson, steady as she goes. A yeoman performance here in his opening championship round appearance. He leads by 13 as we head into frame number 8. And Fensky has an opportunity to double and tighten the match. I would think that Wayne at this point needs a strike.
In fact, if Ski steps up and strikes in the 8th and 9th, he's going to take the lead no matter what Wayne does on this ball.
Well, he's yet to strike here on lane 21.
And this is the lane he picked a finish on.
Wants the wall shot and leaves the 5.
It's just a different pin every frame, then. If we were playing no tap, he would have no trouble. As the ball comes in late, watch the ball, hit the head pin goes to the wall, 4, 5, 7 is there. And if that had been Dick Weber, they all would have fallen down.
No question.
It turned out Wayne Johnson left the 5 pin.
Well, variety is the spice of life, and no one in the history of bowling has ever missed the 5 pin.
At least not tonight.
No. I've never seen anyone miss the 5.
You haven't watched me bowl very often.
Well, you left enough of them. I guess you probably...
Oh, I asked for that one. I could see that one coming.
It was a straight line. That was a Mike Tyson right there. All right. Fensky trailing by 12. If he strikes here, he's down by just 2.
Well, if he's going to do it, this is the place that he needs to do it. Taking forever to get his hand in that ball. He likes it. 6 pin. That lane finishing just a little bit harder. He's got to maintain good speed on lane 22 in order to hold the ball in the pocket, or it wants to creep high. As he let it go, he likes it. Now he's saying, don't get too high. Ooh.
Boy, nice pirouette there. He hasn't lost a step.
Right. He Baryshnikov, huh?
He's been working on that. Spares up the 6. Basically what it does is keeps him down by 12. And the best possible score for Fensky would be 204 if he strikes out the 9th and the 10th.
There we see it. Total of 4 strikes and 16 frames.
Scores were moderate this week, somewhere in the middle range by and large.
Right.
Although on the television pair, and the composite group averaged a fraction better than 226, so the scores were fairly high on 21 and 22.
Ski needs to strike here in the 10th frame to set himself up for the 10th. Dropped it. Just fell off his hand. He's fortunate he leaves only the 1-3. Well, he's going to sit back and make the spare and hope that Wayne Johnson makes a mistake. Under pressure, sometimes his feet get faster. Ball's quite early and gone off his hand there and has no chance. And like I say, he was fortunate to get both the 7 and the 9 out of there.
Task at hand to spare up here and keep your fingers crossed.
Right.
Well, other than the one mistake in the 5th, it's been a fairly solid game for Fensky.
Here's his first shot. Now let's see if it makes it over the foul line. Boom, right down at the foul line. Barely, I don't think it got over the foul line, Dan.
He also turned it a little early, too, in his backswing. Let's see what Wayne Johnson does. Stays down with it, throws an absolutely picture-perfect strike to set up the 10th frame.
And the situation is Wayne just needs a spare and 7 pins in the 10th frame in order to lock up a victory here. Even if he would open, Fensky would have to double in order to beat him.
Finished 7th last week in the PBA Senior Championship in Canton, Ohio, and had a heck of a chance to make it to the championship round there, losing in the position round game.
Had a pair that just gave him a lot of trouble in that position round game.
Kind of triple pumps it, heads to the line, and lets it go, hits the pocket again, and leaves the soft 10 this time.
Well, he needs to make this and get 7 pins, and he's going to move on to face another left-hander, Darrell Curtis.
Alan Choder qualifies number 2 from Canoga Park, California, and our top seed this week from Redding, California, John Handegard.
Canoga Park, that's my old stomping grounds out that way. No trouble. Dead center.
It's been a solid game for Johnson. Strike here gives him 196. As Mike said, 7 is more than enough.
Of course, he's had no strikes on lane 21 yet. He doesn't need a strike, though, right now. High. Ooh! He had 6er for a second.
Wow. And Wayne turns around with a smile, gets the handshake from Ski Fensky, so Wayne Johnson flirts with disaster,
right.
Comes out a winner.
Look at this. We got the whole back row up here for a second. He's got 4, 7, 9, 10, and the 6 pin, and all 3 of those pins fall. The Leaning Tower of Pisa goes left.
Wow. Big time break there. So for Ski Fensky, a 5th place finish here in Texas City this week, worth $3,200. But his first appearance in the championship round kind of whets his appetite a little bit.
Interesting, too. Ski never got a strike on the right lane, and Wayne never got a strike on the left lane.
And those were the 2 lanes they chose to finish on. Excellent field on hand for this week's event. A capacity field of 128. Ski obviously a little disappointed. But you can build on this kind of a performance, making it to the championship round.
Well, I'm sure we'll see him down in Fort Pierce in October.
That's right. That's the next stop for the seniors. And what hopefully looks like a very interesting schedule for the senior players in 1990.
An expanded one, hopefully somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 turns, 8 to 10.
You know, one thing is for sure, these gentlemen love to come out and compete, get a chance to bowl against one another, relive the old days, and create some new memories. Final score, 194 to 179. So Fensky is done for the week. But don't you go away, because coming up next here on ESPN, Mike Durbin's final average builder for the summer tour.
At Vic, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now Vic presents our solution, introducing the new Vic Metal Shaver. The patented Vic Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new Vic Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
Hi, I'm Yakov Smirnov for Best Western. When I used to check into other hotels, I always had reservations, but I'd stay there anyway. Now with Best Western, I have so many different choices. I can always get and pay for only what I need. Like they just asked me in my room, would I like a king or a queen? What a country. I'm sure they're very nice people, but I'd rather have my own room.
Well, even par would have been a pretty good score this week at Lone Star Lanes. If you'd averaged 200, you'd have been right in the thick of the field.
Right. Actually, though, it took 201 to make some money this week and 206 to get into our top 24. But the scores were definitely on the moderate to low side. And that was one of the reasons for that was the carry. Like we pointed out, those corner pins just didn't want to fall. And that's what we've seen in the first game.
We mentioned the size of the field being at 128 and a high 3-game series, 755.
Yeah, we've seen much higher than that during the course of the summer.
Robert Gibbs was the qualifying leader, posting 39.65.
Which is 365 pins over 200 average, 3,600 being par for 18 games.
And some of the big games this week. And if I'm not mistaken, on top as well, Les Sykes had a 300 game here this week.
In the Pro-Am, he did. It was a no-tap Pro-Am, but he had a legitimate 300. And then he got all 12 strikes. Ernie Belts there was the only non-professional in our field.
Alan Choder qualifying in the number 2 slot, used that big 279 game to get there. Handegard with a 278 game. So the seniors coming out with some high scores. It's the final look at Mike Durbin's average builder for the summer, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this. It's a rather unique look at the sport of bowling and how to have some fun.
Hi. For the final tip of the year, what I thought I'd like to talk about tonight is just some items that I feel will make the sport of bowling far more enjoyable for you. And topping that list is an absolute necessity that you have your own bag, ball, and shoes, plus any accessories that you might need, like wrist devices such as this. Remember, we talked about those last week. And here are my shoes down here that I would get into to bowl. There comes a time when house balls or house shoes just don't cut it anymore. And when you go to get that bowling ball, make sure that you buy it at a professional pro shop, either in a bowling center or a pro shop that's freestanding. And have that professional that's operating the pro shop fit and drill the ball for you. He'll custom fit that ball for you so it's a glove on your hand. Don't trust that bowling ball to someone that's not a professional or someone who's an amateur. The next thing that you need to do is you need to learn the rules and the etiquette of the sport of bowling, plus its terminology. The governing bodies of the sport of bowling are the American Bowling Congress and the WIBC. And each of these organizations every year puts out a rule book that has all of the rules of the sport of bowling. You can get this by writing their home office in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And almost every bowling center has a pamphlet where they'll list the terminology in the sport of bowling, plus bowling etiquette. You can pick this up at your local center. The manufacturers put these out. That way you'll know when Denny and I refer to an open or a split or a washout or a turkey, you'll know what we're talking about. The next thing that I'd like to see you do is get some quality instruction. Go down to your local bowling center and see if they have a house pro there that can give you either group or private instructions. And if they don't have anybody like that, we'll get on their back a little bit, because I believe they should have someone employed for that purpose. And if you can't get them to do anything about it, then go to another center that has someone employed in that service. And after you've gotten some good instruction, then the next thing you need to do is to get out and practice. In the sport of bowling, it's almost impossible to get better without putting some time in on the lanes. I can still remember when I was a kid and I used to ask my dad, well, when am I going to be able to average 180? And he'd say to me, Mike, well, you haven't bowled your first 1,000 games yet. And that was his way of communicating to me that it takes time to get better in the sport of bowling, and you have to put in that time on the practice lane. The next thing that I'd like to see you do is to join a bowling league. You know, our bowling season is just starting. Many bowling centers across the country either started last week or they're starting next week in all of their league bowling. And the bowling proprietors have all different kinds of leagues. There's men's leagues, there's women's leagues, there's mixed leagues, there's handicap leagues, there's scratch leagues, there's junior leagues. There's a league for you. And I think that you'll find that bowling is far more fun when you get out there and bowl in that league. You'll enjoy socializing with other people, plus the friendly competition. There's just nothing like it on a weekly basis. When I went back to school in Greeley, Colorado in college, the first thing I did to meet people was go down and join a bowling league. And the last thing that I'd like to recommend to you is that no matter at what level we're approaching the sport of bowling, whether it's recreation, whether it's social, or whether it's professional, that we remember to have fun in the sport. You know, our leading money winner this year is Mike Albee. And when he's been interviewed of why he's doing so well, he gives a number of reasons, but he always remembers to say, he says, I try to have fun while I'm bowling. So it is possible to have fun and still bowl extremely well. Well, that's my list. You try it. I think you'll enjoy the sport far more. And I hope you've enjoyed the Average Builders this summer. Join us again next summer when we'll have another series of Average Builders that'll help your game. See you then.
And coming up next, Daryl Curtis will try and take care of that youngster on the block, 50-year-old Wayne Johnson, when we return to Texas City, Texas.
When you think of all the things your eyes have to do every waking hour of every day, it's good to know the GE Soft White Light is easy on your eyes. It's a soft, warm, glowing light. The GE Soft White, a light so remarkable, it's sensitive to the needs of the human eye. GE is a light. We bring good things to life.
Folks, I got a news flash for you. It's the news in New Mexico, New Orleans, New York, New Hampshire, too. McDonald's new country style McChicken sandwich. It's unanimous in Washington for special country seasoning. In Alaska's chill or Miami's heat, they love that all-white breast meat. Yeah, it's Coca-Cola and a hot McChicken for the country taste the whole country's digging. This just could make McDonald's famous. New country style McChicken at McDonald's.
Daryl Curtis on the right, Wayne Johnson, who has already eliminated Ski Fensky on the left, and we're just moments away from the start of match number 2.
And I think Daryl Curtis has done a very intelligent thing here. He's going to make Wayne Johnson, who never got a strike on the left lane, finish on that lane.
Very solid player indeed, Daryl Curtis. Earlier this year in the PBA Summer Tour, the Seattle Open, he was the only senior to qualify during that touring players event for the top 24. Comes right out of the gate and basically throws it through the nose and leaves the 2-pin.
Right through the nose. Just in a hurry to get that shot underway, and he's fortunate he got 9.
Daryl, 7 years as a PBA member, basically waited until he was near senior age before he started competing. Has bowled a lot of regional action up in the Northwest. Done very well.
Well, he's got a nice role in the game, and he's got a marvelous attitude. Like I say, he always tries to stay loose. And he can definitely throw some strikes. He'll make some mistakes now and then, too, but he definitely throws a lot of strikes. And Wayne's having no trouble with lane 22. It's whether he can figure out something here on lane 20. What are they yelling in the background? Did you pick that up?
No, not yet.
4 steps. Watch how he steps before he pushes the ball. See how he takes that full step, and he hasn't moved the ball here. So it's basically a 3-step delivery from this point on. Very short pivot step right there, but he's very accurate. Again, those short backswings, guys are accurate.
Was taught the game by the great Tommy Tuttle down there in North Carolina. They're very good friends, and he's spent a lot of time working with him. This one slides right by, though, and he leaves the washout.
Just never got any lift on that. The ball really wasn't that much off target. You see him take the towel and wipe his hand with it. The ball just kind of slipped off his hand there. When I say lift, I mean off the finger, off the pads of the finger. You want to lift on that ball, or at least have it make the ball open up your fingers so that you can get some turn on that ball at the end.
Needless to say, a touch humid down here in the greater Houston area.
A lot of guys use finger grips, Denny, and they were coming out all week long because of the humidity.
Super glue wouldn't hold. Let's see if this does. Head pin slides over, but not quite enough of the 1 pin to get to the 10, so an open frame in the second for Wayne Johnson.
And already Darrell Kerr's strategy is paying off here as he makes Johnson finish on this left lane, and even in the second frame, trying for a double, he gets an open frame.
Johnson with his first shot on the right lane. That basically the same as the first, only he has company with the 2-pin this trip.
Yeah, Darrell Curtis, yeah. Just soft. He just not aggressive with that shot at all. Needs to get just a little firmer, make this spare. And we're still searching for our first double. And in this game, well, we have had a strike. Wayne got a strike already. So.
Sandy looking on hopefully. Well, let's see what kind of an adjustment he makes. Through the nose on 21 the last time.
Well, there's no adjustment to make with his feet or speed or anything like this. It's just a matter of calming down and making the shot that he knows he needs to make, hitting that target. Somebody in the back sitting behind him, as soon as he threw it, said, "That's better."
Yeah, it's always easier from there, though.
Oh, yeah. I never get tapped from up here, Dad.
Strike in the third for Curtis. Let's see if Johnson can match him here in the third. Trailing by 9.
Has to hurry. Well, it almost slid by for another washout. Barely got a piece of the head pin. Leaves the 2-4-5.
Unhappy with that shot.
And again, very short backswing between the second and third arrow. And again, not the lift with the fingers so the ball doesn't finish at the back end. Not the easiest spare in the world, 2-4-5. Looks good. Is good.
So a spare up in the third as he trails by 9 at this stage. Basically led Ski Fensky all of game number 1 before defeating Ski 194 to 179.
Be interesting. If he comes in light again, I would begin to think that the oil's carrying down the lane. But he didn't. He still can't get a strike on that lane.
I thought you were going to say the classic over-adjustment from the washout to the solid 4.
Well, he made sure that he didn't give it that room with no lift again. He got a little firmer with it and kept it tight into the pocket.
The ball seems to hold pocket if you make a nice crisp shot, but you just don't have much room to the right.
Well, he had a little bit, but not the strike. Get back to the 1-3, but not the strike.
Stands up on it a little bit, but the result is a good one. So Darrell Curtis leading by 10 here in game number 2 of the $75,000 Hammer Senior Open.
I never saw you hit so well. I'm here in 3, you're here in 1. Ah, Phil.
Yeah, how'd you do, Jack?
In and 3, out in 3. What are you doing? You're playing your best golf, and every time I look up, you're staring at TV. Saturday cartoons make you so good?
It's a special Golf Digest instructional video. The Golf Digest schools pulled 10 instant golf lessons from their 10-cassette collection.
Graphics, instruction, real professional advice, 10 instant lessons?
A half hour of the best stuff for a golfer.
It's priceless.
It's free.
Free?
With my subscription to Golf Digest.
Get a full year of Golf Digest for $16.77. Call 800-348-3300 now and get our free half-hour instructional video with your paid subscription. Call 800-348-3300 now.
Saturday, two preseason Heisman favorites, LSU's Tommy Hodgson and Texas A&M's Darren Lewis collide. Plus Maryland at North Carolina State. Saturday, live on ESPN.
Now, without these two young gentlemen, I know for sure that you and I would be confused on a weekly basis. They head up the PBA press room and have just done a marvelous job all summer long.
And all of our biographical information that we get on all the players, they provide for us and do an outstanding job.
Of course, Sands, the senior partner of the crew, and Dinkins still learning the ropes at this stage.
But Dinkins is a Buckeye, so...
and he shows true potential in that press room. So, all kidding aside, the guys have done a wonderful job for us. And Daryl Curtis says, you know, I heard Durbin up there a couple of minutes ago mentioning the seniors have not doubled, and I think I'm going to change that story.
He certainly did. Again, he takes very little time. Playing left to the second arrow, just a little bit. Bellies it out, comes back flush in the 1-2 pocket, and he's up by 20. Can increase it to 30 with one more.
Ooh, really got out of that shot nice and clean and showed a little power on that shot.
I wonder what hit the 7-pin, though. I mean, let's watch and see here if we can figure out what hits the 7-pin, because the 4-pin doesn't do it. Comes in light. It'll look like the 8-pin, didn't it?
Yep. Sliced it right over. Curtis with the turkey in the 5th, now leads by 30, and Wayne Johnson's in a heap of trouble at this stage.
Plus, he just cannot carry. He says, I may go back to the full roller. Who says this 3/4 carries better?
Well, you threw a full roller at one time. How difficult was it for you to adapt to the 3/4 turn? Or did you ever in your career?
Right, yeah. I can't give a straight answer on that. No, I'll just pass that question.
Well, we'll check back here in a moment or so. I had to qualify that. Stretches out, skid a little bit. No, it doesn't. The ball hooked a little early, so Wayne Johnson now down by 42 and going to have to regroup a little bit. Fans are trying to cajole him a little bit here, get him started.
Well, it's not a pretty sight here. There should be a 75 there in the 5th frame that I haven't typed in yet, but in any case, it's 42-pin lead for Daryl Curtis,
who is cruising right now and headed for a semifinal matchup against Alan Choder. Meanwhile, Johnson trying to right himself a little bit. Still can't seem to get a break. The 2-pin drops, the 8-pin falls, and it's been a long game number 2.
He keeps wiping that towel on his forehead and then wiping the oil off the ball with the same towel. At the 8-pin, no trouble.
Working hard just to kind of stay somewhere within sight, but Curtis at this point pedaling as fast as his legs will carry him.
And he takes very little time. He's up there and gone.
It's a good tip. Be set before you get up there and get the ball in hand and take off and see if you can throw a 4-bagger. Nope, through the nose. Well, you might if you get a break. Leaves the 2-pin.
Again, the audience seems spent. The bowlers don't seem excited. It's hard to get something going here in our last telecast, Dan. The adrenaline doesn't seem to be flowing.
Nope. We're waiting for something to happen. And it just did right there. That could turn the match around. Curtis kind of shakes his head. Goes from leading by 42 now to a 30-pin advantage. You just can't make mistakes like this.
And he just threw the ball so slow and so lackadaisical at the 2-pin here and just whiffs it on the right. Well, maybe that'll put some adrenaline into Johnson.
Sees an opportunity to come back. Curtis right back at the pocket, though, and tries to make up for lost time with a strike in the 7th frame. As he leads here in match number 2, and one of the reasons why he's been able to hit the pocket for the most part as he has taken the lead here. We'll be back with more from the $75,000 Hammer Senior Open when we return to the Lone Star Stakes.
Until now, dandruff shampoos have done one thing well.
It got rid of my dandruff.
It got rid of my dandruff. It got rid of my dandruff.
But now there's a dandruff shampoo that does more. New Dandruff Control Pert Plus. Dandruff shampoo plus complete conditioner in one. So you get rid of flakes and condition your hair in one step. And that's big news.
My hair's in great condition. Oh, and it got rid of my dandruff.
New Dandruff Control Pert Plus. The biggest news in dandruff shampoo since dandruff shampoo.
Ortho air conditioners, pressure
Builder Square. We buy by the trainload. Direct from top manufacturer. There's no middleman, no frills, no membership fees. And at Builder Square, we won't be undersold. Ever. Builder Square, where the values keep rolling on. Because the more we sell, the lower the price.
That's right, it's have gun, will travel. Spray gun, of course, for the PBA lane maintenance crew.
That's very good, Dennis. Although it just reveals your age that you were old enough to remember that show.
That's right. Kerry Mogard and Steve Cross, these two gentlemen, believe me, don't get enough attention, enough positive attention for the job that they undertake each and every week on the PBA National Tour to come in and coordinate the lane maintenance. And believe me, the only friend that they have at the end of any given week is the guy who finishes on top.
It may not even be him.
Johnson trailing by Jack Benny's age, 29. But he turns it around there with a strike in the 7th.
I always thought he was 39.
What do I know? I'm not old enough.
Well, he can cut it to 19. I know that, if he can finally get his first double. And we see what it is. Only 5 strikes in the game in 3/4 and none on lane 21.
A goose egg on lane 21. Let's see if he can make the adjustment. Left a pesky 4 the last time. I should say the shot before, the 8-pin the last trip. Stays with his shot, gave it some room. How about it? There it is. So Johnson with a bit of a charge in the 7th and the 8th.
Well, he could still strike out and shoot 215. As we see, he took a lesson from Dick Weber here. When in doubt, go to the wall shot. The 4, 5, 7 is there, and they go down. Back to live. And suddenly this match is even, or just about. Not quite even. It was 19 pins. If he misses this, gets 8 out, he's going to be ahead by only 5.
But Johnson's on the double.
Right. Cruising along just 2 frames ago. Missing that 2-pin. Big, big shot.
How many times have you seen that happen in any sporting event? A team or a player is ahead, makes that mental mistake, and all of a sudden the opponent gains that little advantage, sees that little crack of sunlight, daylight, and goes right after it.
Well, Darrell has had good success on lane 21. He needs to set himself up for that 10th frame, but right now, if Wayne Johnson strikes out, he's going to win.
Shakes him up on his own, so a Wally in the 9th for Darrell Curtis, who I think has the gut feeling that this might have gotten away from him.
Well, it's not over yet, as he comes in late and gets his own wall shot. 3, 5, 6 is up there, and they all go down. Or there was the 5, 6, 10. No, I got the wrong pins here.
Get the mirror out.
Right. Ooh, 4-pin. That was for the lead right there.
Critical shot for Wayne Johnson, who dropped it in the pocket and just hasn't been able to trip out or nudge out that 4-pin.
Hasn't gotten any breaks on a carry except for the wall shot he carried in the 8th frame. But he can still take the lead if he can make this spare and then get a double in the 10th frame.
Smile from Wayne Johnson, who realizes at this point in time that a double would go a long way here in the 10th.
Hey, Mark may do it, as Darrell Curtis has opened the last 2 frames on lane 22.
Yeah, he's mixed up over there.
Will it carry? Nope, didn't get up. Leaves the 2-4-8. Not the easiest spare, and he needs to convert it, Denny. To have any chance to win, he must convert this.
Darrell scans the scoreboard, and obviously he realizes what the numbers are at this stage. Yeah, this is not exactly what you want to leave to spare in the 10th. Gives it plenty of turn and actually overturned it. Major mistake in the 10th frame. A game of 170 for Wayne Johnson, who I think realizes that he has come to a screeching halt here in the Lone Star State.
And he just got it too far left. You got to hit the 2-pin on the right and hope the ball carries through to get the back pin. He needs 6 pins on 2 balls in order to be a winner. Should be enough right there. That's 10, not even 6. So not many spares in that game, but he got quite a few strikes.
You think he made an adjustment on that lane, Mike, realizing that it was a free shot, that he only needed 6 and 2 balls?
It's possible he made another a board move right with his feet and kept the same target in that area.
Gave that ball a little more swing. Didn't it arc a little more?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like it to me. See, he pulled that through the nose, so he's still at this point in time trying to map out a game plan for lane 22, but he'll get at least 5 more shots at it.
Right. Well, we said that that lane hooked more, and we're still looking for our first 200 game tonight.
And a 4th place finish, and I would say probably a unique experience for Wayne Johnson. First ever appearance in the championship round. A spare up and a nice one indeed. The baby splits converted to finish out the 10th frame for Darrell Curtis, who moves on here to the semifinal game with a 198-170 victory over Wayne Johnson. Coming up next on ESPN, a special look back to the entire summer, the summer tour, all 12 events on ESPN.
What you're about to see is a sim. Brushstrokes, runs, streaks. Now consider the new Wagner Power Painter. It has patented controls for precision, a convenient backpack for big jobs. It paints smoothly and evenly over cracks and tough surfaces. Why did we ruin this beauty? So you wouldn't ruin this one. Wagner, not just a whole lot faster, a whole lot better.
When I give you the signal, please open your blue books. Until then, please keep them on your desk with your pencils down. You'll have precisely 30 minutes for this examination. Remember that your grade in this course rests primarily upon this exam, so I hope you all studied this weekend. If you overdid it last night, I hope you're feeling well, as there will be no makeup exam. And under no circumstance should you get out of your seat.
It's summertime, 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 summertime.
The PBA Summer Tour kicked off in June, and expectations were high for one player in particular. Mike Aubie was off to a fast start in 1989, winning 4 tournaments and more than $280,000. But the heat of the summer proved too much for Aubie as he cashed in only 1 tournament and pocketed less than $1,000. Last year, Aubie took 10 weeks off during the summer tour just to regroup. But this year, he has something else on his mind. His wife, Tammy, is expecting their first child in October, and Mike found another popular pastime to occupy himself.
I've never been into baseball like I have been this year because rotisserie, it's like, you know, I was a Reds fan and an A's fan, but other than that, who cared, you know? But now I've got players on all the teams, so you watch the box scores, and it's fun to root for players. So I watch, you know, if it's just a regular game between somebody you really wouldn't watch anyway, now all of a sudden you're watching it because you got something in on it.
My name is Biff. I'm from Wisconsin. Long ways away. Hi, Kenneth. My name is Biff. How are you? Number 2 and Pete Weber.
Aubie's disappointing performance opened up the door for plenty of new faces. In the first 3 weeks, 15 different bowlers made a television appearance. The summer season spelled sweet success for 2 bowlers in particular. Jess Staybrook won his first tournament at the Seattle Open. He had come close on 5 other occasions this year, but in Seattle he held on to his top seed position by defeating Joe Salvemini. Jim Pensack experienced the thrill of victory for the very first time at the LaMode Classic. As the 4th seed, Pensack clawed his way past Tony Wesley, David Ozio, Ron Palumbi Jr., before taking care of Dave Ferraro, the top seed. Tom Kreitz won his 5th PBA title at the Kessler Classic in dramatic fashion. Kreitz closed with 9 strikes in the semifinal game, the most consecutive strikes during any TV round this summer. Over on the senior tour, one thing was for certain this summer, Jimmy Certain. After slip-sliding on the tour the past 22 years without a singles victory, Certain won the Showboat PBA Senior Invitational and then finished up second last week in the PBA Senior Championship. But without a doubt, this summer's sizzler was the man from Venezuela, Leto Monticelli. Monticelli ended an 18-month drought with a victory at the Miller Lite Challenge. He won again less than a month later at the Wichita Open. Monticelli collected more than $63,000, cashing in all 7 tournaments that he entered. And Leto Monticelli may just be the man to beat on the PBA Fall Tour. Next, the handyman.
It has become the ultimate test of mind and body. Bud Light is proud to sponsor the 11th annual Bud Light Ironman competition, as well as the ongoing Bud Light U.S. Triathlon Series. The challenge has been made.
Over 500,000 times tonight, we'll be delivering in 30 minutes or less. Sometimes we even arrive a little early. So tonight, call us, because nobody delivers better than Domino's Pizza. And nobody delivers better deals than Domino's during Double Deal Days. 2 custom-made pizzas for 1 hot price. So call now for a delicious deal.
In September, celebrate ESPN's 10th anniversary. From Big Ten battles to Ivy League tradition, the fall colors are spectacular on college football Saturdays. See highlights of every NFL game played that day on NFL Primetime. Your wildest dreams come true with computerized matchups of football's greatest teams ever on NFL Dream Season. Plus, daring drivers tear up the track with NASCAR and IndyCar excitement. Celebrate in September on ESPN.
And I'm here at Lone Star Lanes with our tournament leader this week, John Handegard. John, since the senior tour has been started and you've been bowling, have kind of like a renewed life. I mean, you've been bowling so well. I'd like to know what your impressions are so far of the senior tour.
Well, in my opinion, it's the greatest thing that's happened to senior bowling. Not only is it good for the professionals that have been on the national tours, good for a lot of people that have spent their lives working in a job somewhere. And now that they have a few more weeks of time off, they can come out and join the professionals and have a good time bowling.
John, how long have you been bowling, just bowling period?
About 34 years now.
That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm enjoying it more now than I ever have.
That's great. How long have you been bowling professionally?
I bowled my first professional tournament in 1968, so that's 21 years now. Although I didn't bowl steady, I would bowl, 6 months or a year at a time and then lay off for a few years.
All right, John, 21 years in the PBA. Obviously, you've had opportunities to win titles in that time. A few years ago, about 10 years ago in Salt Lake, you had a great opportunity. Everybody's asking the question, we know you've got the talent. Why hasn't John Handegard won a PBA tournament yet?
Well, in my opinion, and the opinion of many people that I talk with, I have a tendency to be a perfectionist. And the more I try to be perfect, the more perfect I have to be, and pretty soon I get so tight I just can't make the shot.
So your perfectionism actually is hurting your game then?
Well, it has so far. I get to the point where I get so locked up I can't let the ball swing, but we're going to change that.
Well, how are you going to change that tonight?
Well, I practiced it last night, the final block of the tournament, when it was pretty close. I just tried to let the ball go, and when I got the foul line, just let it go the other way. Just let it swing and let it go, and that's going to be primarily what I'm going to try to do tonight.
Well, when you say let it go like that, does that mean you're just trying for a freer arm swing?
Primarily, just get the ball in motion, just let it swing from the shoulder. And when I get the foul line, just let it go down the lane and not try to be so precise on my target.
John, I want to wish you a lot of good luck tonight. We're all rooting for you.
Thanks.
And we're coming up next. We're going to see Daryl Curtis going against a newcomer, Alan Choder, who bowled so well last night. Don't you dare leave us till we come back.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I enjoy looking at ladies in bikinis just like the next guy. But when I buy a Sports Weekly, I buy it for one reason: to get the straight scoop on sports. That's why I read the Sporting News, America's sports authority.
It gives you terrific baseball coverage by 40 top writers on the scene where the action is, plus more stats and inside stuff than any other Sports Weekly.
So if you want swimsuit pictures, sailboat stories, or funny videos, better look somewhere else. But if you want the very best baseball coverage and weekly in-depth reports on football, basketball, hockey, and boxing, then be sure you get the Sporting News. Grab this great subscription deal. Find out for yourself why over 725,000 sports fans get the Sporting News weekly and get smart for themselves.
Call 1-800-638-1200 and get 29 issues of the Sporting News for 4 payments of just $4.99. You'll save 69% off the cover price, 40% off the regular subscription rate. Call now, 1-800-638-1200.
Hey, is that Don Mattingly?
Nope.
Look, it's Cal Ripken.
Guess again.
The AJD Cap Company presents authentic Major League Baseball signature caps featuring 80 of your favorite players' names, numbers, and signatures. Take it from me, Mel Allen, they're sure to become collector's items. To order yours, just call 1-800-221-1200. Hey, isn't that Dwight Gooden?
Nice try.
Fancy perfumey aftershave. It's got to be a quarterback's locker. Real guys who get mud on their uniforms use rugged, honest stuff. Ice blue aqua velva.
There's something about today's aqua velva, man.
So you still think linemen are dumb?
The dream season begins as scrambling Roger Staubach tries to shut down the fridge. The 77 Cowboys face the 85 Bears on NFL Dream Season, Sunday night on ESPN.
And back for the semifinal game here in the state of Texas, Texas City, between Daryl Curtis and Alan Choder. Well, Curtis is certainly relaxed here in the semifinal game.
Sit down. Hey, oh, am I supposed to bowl?
Sure, sure. Turn on the television, relax a little bit. Coming off a 198-170 win over Wayne Johnson. This one right up through and past the head pin, and only leaves the 8.
And that's kind of bowler Daryl is. I mean, he's loosey-goosey, gets up there and lets it go. Wherever it goes, it goes. Interesting, he is very good friends with John Handegard. John used to live in the Northwest, and Daryl lives up there, and they've been friends for years. It'd be something if they wind up bullying each other for the title, wouldn't it?
Well, neither one has won a PBA national title, so, of course, Alan Choder is yet to win one, so somebody new will end up in the winner's circle here tonight when we're done.
We can blow that air out.
Trying to relax a little bit. Sets it a little short and laughs to himself. Figures, I got up there, I didn't fall down, I made the shot, I'm going to try for the spin.
And I kept it on the lane. 5-step delivery here. Shoulder high backswing. Kind of an unusual slide. We kind of slide sideways there. At the spare. And he's breathing a little easier now, safe.
I'm glad he is breathing at this point.
Yeah, right.
Told me before the telecast he was very, very nervous, very excited. He said, Danny, this is a great accomplishment for me. I really haven't bowled much on the seniors tour, and I've won a handful of amateur tournaments in my area in Canoga Park, but this is certainly the highlight of my career thus far.
There's a little more room. Back for the 3-pin. Here's his footwork. Watch the slide. Looks better from that angle than it did from the back. Looks more conventional. Perpendicular at the foul line, though.
It's almost like he's drifting and sliding at the same time.
last time with this 3-pin.
Shoots this spare with a strike ball. That's kind of an interesting...
Well, I did that a lot. I used to go to a harder ball for spares on the right side of the lane for me and watch him blow out this air. Oh, he didn't. He blew it out already. See his eyes. Now he looks down right as he lets the ball go. He's spotting right at the foul line at the last second.
Well, that'll force you to set the ball down very early, get it into a roll. Better swing pattern this time for Curtis. And doesn't like the results, though, as he leaves the 5-10.
Looked like he did move in a little bit and give it a little more room, and the ball just wouldn't hit when he got there. Watch the ball deflect in. The ball's going to hit the 1-2, go to the left, and didn't get the 5. Didn't miss it, but by a whisker there.
Well, as accurate as he is, he'll give this one a run. Ooh, how did it miss?
Speed, he threw it just a little too slow.
So Curtis with an open in the second. And Schroeder now leads by 12. Moore gets that ball into a swing very quickly. Leaves the solid 6-pin. Players have had trouble putting strikes together, to my knowledge. Testing my memory, 3 in a row by Curtis was as far as we've gone.
He had 3 in a row, and he had one other double, and Wayne Johnson had a double, and that's it.
No doubles in the opening game, won by Johnson, who defeated Fensky 194-179, and then Curtis knocked off Wayne Johnson 198-170. We're still looking for a game in the plus 200 range.
Back a long way. There's his wife, Wendy, looking on.
That's right, and she is expecting in the near future.
Watch him. He's playing further outside than Darryl Curtis is. Or Fensky out near the channel, right around left of that first arrow. The ball coming in very late. Blows the 5 right into the 10.
You know, he told me, Mike, the key to the last 8 or 10 games when he really made the big jump was consciously slowing the feet down, which I think in turn slows the ball speed down a little bit, gets a little better reaction.
And he's the only player tonight using a 15-pound bowling ball. Will it double? Well, it's 9.5.
See where that ball ended up? On the replay, watch, the ball is almost directly behind the 7-pin. Yeah, when it finishes. And it shouldn't be that far to the left, should it?
It depends who's throwing it, Dan. I'm waiting for the shot now.
In your case, it many times ended up near the 10, I'm assuming, is what you're telling me there. But it was kind of strange the way that ball hit. Maybe because it did deflect a little bit as a 15-pound ball. But he's hitting the pocket. That's the key. Schroeder enjoying himself, and the reason why is because he leads by a dozen here in the early stages of the semifinal game of this year's Hammer Senior Open.
No way this guy's gonna beat me. Not today. My serve is booming. A forehand, just like Connor's. Come on, backhand. I read all about psyching out guys like this, and it works. It's really a pretty easy game. When you get the right help. This guy's gonna be lucky to get more than 2 games off me.
Subscribe to Tennis Magazine now. Only $9.97 for 12 issues. Call 800-372-3000. We'll include 2 free booklets on improving your game. Tennis Magazine. Call 800-372-3000.
And we're going to get a look at Alan Choder's first ball last time when Denny wanted to see over again. Watch it deflect to the left. It will barely get the 5-pin. Splits the 4-5 right there and finishes, deflects over the 8-pin and keeps going left. And you're saying that reminded you of someone's ball, is that
Sure,
right? Oh,
right.
Okay.
Between you and Weber, I'm not sure which one would end up deflecting further to the right, but a little better lane on the left for Darrell Curtis. Right-hand lane for him has been a mystery. A little better speed, a little direct angle. So Curtis comes up with a strike of his own in the 4th.
Well, I'm glad you put me in the company with Dick Weber.
That's right, Weber cashing this week, but missing the finals. Boy, some interesting names this week. Tito Semez cashes, does not make the top 24. Of course, Salvino had the surgery, so Carmi was not here this week.
Cut it to 2 pins with a strike here for Darrell. Just kind of stumbled at the line that time, just not smooth at all. 3-5-6. Nobody seems to be able to put 2 shots in a row together. Kind of reminds me of my golf game.
Players have settled in, and so has the crowd. I think they expected maybe some fireworks here early on in this one. First time the PBA Seniors Tour has ever staged an event in Texas City. Well supported this week. Jamie Brooks,
excellent pro-am,
our proprietor and host, always does such a marvelous job making the guys feel at home and going the extra mile.
Made the top 24 there.
That's right.
This week, too.
Yeah, he bowled pretty well.
Gave it a lot of room. Boy, it's coming back on that right lane. He's gaining more confidence with each shot.
Discussing each and every shot with himself, too.
Well, the 2 best players all week long were Alan Choder and John Handegard. They bowled the best of anybody.
Alan with a high game this week of 279.
And he averaged 245 on the TV pair.
Games of 265 and 226, so he has knocked him down on this pair.
Will it carry? Oh, yes.
Choder with a key double in the 5th and the 6th, now leads by 22.
Watch the 4-pin. Goes to the sideboard and gets up just enough to knock out the 7. Darrell Curtis has got to start throwing some strikes. Good shot, leaves the 10-pin.
Corner pins have been stubborn all week long, and once again here this evening.
Especially for Darrell in this game, right? He only averaged 215 on this pair. Cross lane at the 10-pin. And no trouble, but he's running out of frames and falling further behind.
Well, we've had an opportunity to thank some of the PBA staff members thus far this evening for all their efforts throughout the summer tour. And one gentleman that isn't here and has really worked diligently and been a joy to be around, Johnny Campos, the Assistant National Tournament Director. So, John, job well done, and we'll look forward to seeing him again next summer.
Well, he can do it 1 frame, but he hasn't been able to do it 2 in a row.
Everybody's taking one thing at a time, but we'll see if Alan Choder can turkey up and maybe even throw a 4-bagger here in the Lone Star State as he leads by 23 when we come back.
Leaf by leaf, nature tells you it's time for fall cleanups. But first, get everything you'll need from True Value Hardware stores. Change air filters monthly to help lower heating bills. They're just 63 cents each. Save water with a pulsating shower head by Master Plumber, just $7.99. Stock up on TDK 90-minute audio cassettes, 8 for just $7.97. And the France corn broom is only $2.99 in the fall preview circular from participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
At Vic, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now Vic presents our solution, introducing the new Vic Metal Shaver. The patented Vic Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new Vic Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
SportsCenter right after the bowling tonight. Jim Abbott takes the hill for the Angels, trying to end their losing streak in Boston. Cards in an extra inning thriller and night game at Wrigley. Larry Burnett and I right after the bowling at 11:30 Eastern Time. We'll see you then.
I could have sworn that was Chuck Pisano down there, but it does look like Frank Esposito, PBA Hall of Famer, who has so graciously stepped in to act in Chuck's behalf here this evening. Chuck feeling a little under the weather. Last week it was PBA Hall of Famer Bud Fisher, who was the television coordinator. So we've definitely gone to the upper shelf between Hall of Famers Esposito and Fisher to help us out here on ESPN.
And they're replacing, a Hall of Famer in Chuck Pisano.
That's right. Chuck home and watching and relaxing and feeling much better. And so we want to wish him quick, speedy health. And I'm going to put him back to work shortly here when we head back to Milwaukee.
Alan Choder trying to head for 3 in a row.
Plenty of room again. This one rolls up a little high, and he's tripping out the 6, Mike. He's got it working. Carry the 7, trip the 6.
And you would think that he would be the one that be the most nervous. He has no experience on national television. This is his first opportunity. He puts his face over the hairdryer to cool himself down. And he's the one that seems to be the most relaxed and the most poised and responding the best to the pressure.
So Choder chalks up strike number 3 in a row. And Darrell Curtis pondering the future.
Choder was in this afternoon practicing, so maybe it's paying off now.
Is now 43, and Choder, who has quickly become the crowd's favorite, is pleasing the fans.
Darrell Curtis is just in an absolute must-strike situation. That looks high. And Brooklyn almost got away with it. He just unable to put 2 good shots together. And this match is all but over.
I think the major difference between the seniors and the touring pros, don't you think one of the touring pros would have switched balls after having struggled for nearly 2 games?
They'd have made some kind of quality adjustment, yeah. The seniors just seemed very reluctant to switch bowling balls. And it's not how they learn to bowl.
That's right.
They learn to bowl. They learn by changing speeds, changing angles, changing hand positions, wrist positions, a different feel. And it's a slightly different game now. The trained players be, give me another ball.
Well, that's pretty much all she wrote for Darrell Curtis as he opens the door wide open in the 9th.
Well, Alan Choder now just has to maintain this form and maintain the line that he has to go into the championship match against John Handegard.
Well, we've had a chance to touch on some of the PBA staff members that have been so helpful for us this summer. And, of course, we'd like to thank Joe Antonor, the commissioner of the PBA, for extending us the opportunity to get involved here announce-wise on ESPN, and several of the other folks back at the home office, Financial Director Chuck Clemens, Director of Operations Mark Gerberk, and also Membership Services Director Lenny Gessler. So, and also all the ladies back at the office who put up with you and I constantly. We want to thank all of those folks for making our summer so much fun. Well, this one's got to be a little right of target, and when you get it going and you get that ball rolling, it seems like every break in the world comes your way.
Well, I got a hunch Handegard's going to come on and make Choder finish on the right lane. If he's had any weakness, it's been on the right lane. He tripped the 6 there and went Brooklyn there. And at the slow speed he's throwing with that right lane hooking more.
Well, we had this picked right. We figure he's the guy that's going to be the most nervous, and he's the guy that's about ready to shoot 259.
Just about. Leaves the 6-10. It's going to be 237 with a spare and a strike. Our first 200 of the evening.
Well, he had a little bit of a letdown there in the 10th. He had the match won.
Right.
Daryl Curtis will have to take the third place earnings and head back to the Great Northwest.
And we won't see a battle of friends for the championship.
No, maybe next time. Solid player, Daryl Curtis. And as you said, I think he has just a great attitude toward the game of bowling. Goes out and tries to have a little fun with it, although this evening probably not as much fun as he was hoping for. So with a strike here, it would be a game of 237 for Alan Schroeder. And as you mentioned, John Handegard more than likely will force him to finish on lane 22. There's the better half, realizing, okay, that's one game down.
One more to go, right.
Well, he leaves the 10-pin, but didn't make much difference. Curtis up to finish quickly. Game of 236 for Alan Schroeder. And when we return, only 2 players will be left here in the championship of the Hammer Senior Open. Before we get to them, though, bowling news coming up next here on ESPN.
I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Well, if you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Because everything else is just a light.
We can live with that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every Saturday. He puts on those old blue jeans and goes out with that old dog. And he's gone all day. He says he's going to bring back dinner, but all he ever brings back is that old dog.
Here's to old dogs, Saturday mornings, and comfortable blue jeans. Wrangler.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Bowling News, brought to you by Pizza Hut, maker of pan pizza that's winning the hearts of America. And welcome back, everyone, to Lone Star Lanes in Texas City, Texas, for the final stop on the 1989 PBA Summer Tour. And while we're on the subject of the senior players, let's get updated on their career earnings money list. Here we go. Dick Weber on top once again. He has already collected earnings in excess of $125,000. Meanwhile, Tita Semez remains number 2. Carmen Salvino, with 2 career senior titles, is ranked number 3, while last week's champion, Les Sykes, and Billy Walden currently round out the top 5. Bob Kowalik, a finalist last week in Canton, is currently 6th in career earnings, while Bill Beach of Sharon, Pennsylvania, is number 7. Mr. 900, Glenn Allison, remains a steady 8th, while Super Senior Bob Perry and Mickey Spezio round out the top 10. And now let's take a look at this year's leading money winners among those senior players. Jimmy Certain of Huntsville, Alabama, missed a check here this week, but he is still atop the leaderboard with earnings of nearly $30,000. Meanwhile, Les Sykes and Dick Weber are running a close second. And regardless of his finish here this evening, John Handegard will continue to climb up the ladder, while Tita Semez remains in the number 5 position. More than 65,000 bowlers participated in this year's Avco Family Bowling Tournament. Created back in 1976 by the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, the Avco Family event is the only bowling tournament in the country that offers a national championship to a family team composed of a youngster and a parent, step-parent, grandparent, or, of course, a guardian. And what makes this event even more unique is the fact that the youth bowlers are awarded college scholarship funds if they make it to the national finals, which were held once again this year in Washington, D.C. Here's now a look at the top finishers in this year's event. hard to believe that the summer tour has finally come to an end, Mike Durbin, but it does give us an opportune time to cast our ballots for the PBA Player of the Year. One would suspect at this stage that the left-hander from Indianapolis, Mike Albee, has the forefront.
Well, he definitely has the forefront, Denny. He's won 4 titles plus the ABC Masters. He has $282,000 in PBA earnings so far this year. And even though he had an off summer, he's still miles ahead of his nearest competitor right now.
Del Ballard Jr. qualifying number 2 in our votes at this point with $186,200 and 3 titles. Does he have a shot?
Well, he won the Tournament of Champions, which is one of our majors, Denny. If he won the World Open and won the Touring Players Championship, yes, I would consider that he would have a chance.
What about Amleto Monticelli? A brilliant summer for him. If he follows up like that in the fall, he might have an outside shot.
Very outside. I think Amleto, in order to have a chance, will probably have to win 3 tournaments in the fall to have a chance for PBA Player of the Year.
Bit pessimistic, aren't you, for the rest of the guys out there? I mean, if you look at the long shot possibilities, Randy Peterson has 2 victories. Tony Westlake makes 4 consecutive appearances in the championship round. You're not giving these guys enough credit.
Well, it's not that I'm not giving him enough credit. You can't take away from what Mike Albee's already done. Even though he had a poor summer, you know, he's got 4 victories, $280,000. He's almost $100,000 in money ahead of his nearest competitor. So in order for Westlake or Peterson to come up, they'd have to win at least 3 tournaments in the fall to have a chance. And even then, if I had a vote, they wouldn't get my vote.
As hard as it is for me to believe, Mike Durbin was never named the PBA Player of the Year. But reflect, what would it mean to you? What do you think it'll mean to Mike Albee if he does win this year?
Well, Mike has already won at one time. For me, it would have been probably the crowning achievement of a career. For Mike, it would just be, I think, one more thing. Mike is kind of a level above wherever I got. He's already won it one time. He's trying to win it again. Possibility when he goes into a year, he could win it any year. But I'm sure that right now he's just thinking about winning PBA Player of the Year in 1989.
Well, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this summer on ESPN for the bowling news, in particular my cohort in crime, Chuck Pisano, our executive producer. Thanks, Chuck, for all the help, and we'll see you once again next summer.
It's summertime, 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 summertime.
If you've had your fill of this kind of fun, why not try something different this weekend? Pizza Hut Pan Pizza. Deep golden crust, 2 layers of cheese, and lots of scrumptious toppings. It may not be your idea of a typical weekend get-together, but then that's the whole idea.
And a look at the other finishers. Glenn Allison working in the truck for us here this evening. He ended up in the number 7 slot. And then, of course, the twister, Warren Hay, in the number 9 position.
And on the other page, we got some other bowlers. If we get to the other page there. Kenneth Sisler, that's Les Sisler's brother. And Larry Siebert finished in 23rd. He made the finals back in Fort Pierce last year.
All right, Michael, just 2 players left here in this Hammer PBA Senior Open. The top seed, Handegard, and the guy that's trying to climb the ladder, Alan Choder. Does Handegard force him to finish on lane 22?
Yeah, I think Handegard's going to choose to finish the match first, get his score posted, finish on that left lane. I really think John needs to come out with a double right away to put some pressure on Alan Choder, and if he doesn't, I think he's in big trouble.
For the most part, in his championship round appearances, he's really struggled trying to string strikes together, Handegard, that is, and I think we've already touched on that fact. Tonight, though, he seemed to be very determined. He was going to try something a little bit different. We'll have to see if it works.
Well, we will have to see. I mean, he was very forthright in the interview. He just said, hey, I've been too tight in these matches. I've been too much of a perfectionist, and I can identify with that. And there comes a time when you have to say, I got to let it go, and whatever happens, happens, and I'm going to win one of these times. Maybe this will be the time.
The key phrase on the PBA Tour through the years, trust is a must. And Handegard will have to trust his own talents here this evening as he matches up momentarily in the championship game against left-hander Alan Choder. We'll be back with a title match after this.
You can teach your kids the fun of basketball, from the right techniques to the right attitude, with the help of a great coach and ESPN home video. Legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden shows you how to teach your kids all the basics, plus the importance of mental attitude to build confidence and the enjoyment of the game. A free phone call gets you started.
Bend your knees. Relax. Don't stand stiff. Be loose. Be loose. Have those hands moving.
Teaching Kids Basketball is just one of the many Teaching Kids videos available from ESPN, all featuring proven methods from famous coaches. To order Teaching Kids basketball for just $29.95, call 1-800-841-8900. Ask the operator about our other Teaching Kids videos and save $5 when you order 2. You'll also receive a free ESPN home video catalog. Teaching Kids Sports is child's play with ESPN home video.
World champion athlete Jackie Joyner-Kersee has asthma. Jackie relies on Primatene Mist for the fastest kind of relief. Primatene restores free breathing in as fast as 15 seconds. Primatene Mist, when speed of relief counts.
Interested in a better hand soap? Not me. I can cope. I don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with hummus will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, but don't try to cope without it, soap.
Hey, is that Don Mattingly?
Nope.
Look, it's Cal Ripken.
Guess again.
The AJD Cap Company presents authentic Major League Baseball signature caps featuring 80 of your favorite players' names, numbers, and signatures. Take it from me, Mel Allen, they're sure to become collector's items. To order yours, just call 1-800-221-1200. Hey, isn't that Dwight Gooden?
Nice try.
All right, the final two, Handegard and Alan Choder here.
And if you notice, Handegard put out his left hand on that, and that was intentional because he's shaken hands with guys with his right hand before and gotten a different feel and then suddenly lost the ball. More of his meticulous personality.
All Choder does is try and shake up the pocket. Nice shot there, opening shot for a title match, but he leaves the solid 7.
Switches balls immediately, goes to the shiny, harder ball. Go cross lane at the 7-pin.
Seems to be pretty confident.
I was thinking the exact same thing. He's just as exuding confidence right now.
Well, you mentioned you feel like John Handegard must step up and throw a couple of strikes here to get loosened up if he's going to win.
Well, I think it's very important for him to put pressure on Choder to get out ahead in the match quickly. A little adrenaline flowing there as he gets the wall shot.
Key shot, though, trusted the ball here and strikes in the opening frame.
Classic 4-step delivery. Pushes and steps at the same time. Ball's in perfect time right there. And a watch at the top of the swing in the 3rd step. Right there. Perfect time. You can't throw it any better than that.
Well, that's been the book on him by and large throughout his career, is that he looks like a magnificent player and he makes plenty of quality shots, but when it comes to the championship round, that tape just doesn't seem to operate.
Well, hasn't yet. I mean, you know, great bowlers like Marshall Holman went through a long dry spell. Dave Davis went through a long dry spell. I mean, tremendous Hall of Fame players.
Trying to keep the loose arm swing up into the pocket, and he needed a break there and didn't get it. But he does throw 2 shots off the bat that I think he feels comfortable with.
Yeah, but he wanted that double, Dan. It was just important. You know, you don't carry that weak 10, and it has that tendency you want to stuff it up a little bit the next time, and it goes high.
3rd consecutive appearance in the championship round for Handegard. Should be feeling fairly comfortable under the lights.
He told Kevin Shippey, our public relations director, that he was extremely confident.
So a spare up cross lane in the 2nd for Handegard. Also, while we have a moment, for those who have worked so hard back in the truck and keeping score for Mike and I all season long, Frank Ellenberg, Butch Soper, Chuck Pierce, Art Trask, Glenn Allison, and Joe Berardi, a special pat on the back for all those gentlemen.
He's throwing it well, and he's confident. Key on this right lane is for him to keep that speed up and don't get too soft. Right about over the first arrow. Breaks late into the 1-2 pocket. Absolutely perfect.
Well, he has just fine-tuned this pair as the semifinal game and now the championship game have evolved.
Well, Handegard gets a break. You know, that 4-pin tried to lean on it, but it didn't fall, so Choders didn't double. It's almost, I almost have the feeling right now that the first one that doubles in this match is going to win.
Choders shaking his head, realized right there that he might have been able to trip out the 7. Just nudge it out, and that would have been a big key in the match.
Right. Cross lane at the 7.
So unusual to watch the senior players, as much as they hook the ball to pick up those spares, the touring players just line up and throw that thing 100 miles an hour dead straight.
Throw a BB at it, right?
Yep. Don't let it go anywhere. Don't let it wander out there. Well, he struck in the first on lane 22. Let's see what happens here in the third.
Again, the only other right-hander, Wayne Johnson, just drilled this lane but couldn't get 21. Oh, 4-pin.
Good crisp shot.
Good shot. He's putting it in the 1-3 pocket, just not knocking him down. From behind, watch the even swing. Square game. Good follow-through between the second and third arrow. 4-pin, not hit by the 2. Cross lane at the 4-pin. And no trouble.
Also want to take a moment to pass out a few other plaudits to a man who I feel is by far and away the best director in network television as far as bowling is concerned, Kent Samuel, who has been with ESPN since day one on their bowling coverage. Another outstanding summer there, and a guy that, oh boy, we have discussions each and every week, and I think he's won more arguments this year than I have. George Smith, our outstanding producer. Without those two gentlemen, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun as it is.
And it is a lot of fun. Trying to get something started. Will it carry?
Come on. Whoop, head pin rolls in. Had a notion.
That behind the pocket shot, just not enough looseness in the swing where he gets the heavy fingers to knock that thing up.
Appears to just be fitting the ball in the pocket. Now you see, it's like we're doing the Today Show. We do it behind the window here. Remember that in the old days?
No.
Sure. Handegard cross lane, no problem with the 10. Very close match indeed, the title match. Just 2 pins separating these two fine competitors.
For reaching deep, for going long, for digging in when things go wrong, for pushing hard in all you do. That extra yard for coming through this much for you.
Beechwood aged for the taste so crisp and clean, so refreshing. It's the king of beers. It started in Japan in 1907 and became one of the most respected automobile companies in the world, Daihatsu. Nearly 1 million vehicles a year, sold in over 130 countries. Cars, trucks, and utility vehicles of incredible quality at an affordable price. Daihatsu's reputation for reliability is well known throughout the world. See Daihatsu today, one of the most respected names in Japan for over 80 years, Daihatsu.
ESPN celebrates 10 great years of sparkling sports moments. 10 years that have made ESPN the #1 sports network in America. ESPN, first and 10.
And without question, a pair of gracious hosts and sponsors, Dennis Baldwin of Fab Ball, Maryland, and
David Hardy, Fab-Ball Utah. Those two gentlemen have forked out the cash for the players this week.
And here's the general manager of Lone Star Lanes, Charlotte Woolham. We worked with her all week. Very pretty lady, very capable general manager.
Like the sequin look there as we return now to the fourth. Choder trails, or I should say leads, by 2.
It's an even match now. Coming back out of commercial, many times bowlers inexperienced on television slow up that speed. As he, again, both bowlers just seem to be fitting it to the target just slightly. And he's definitely right at that first arrow, right through the heart, leaves the 2-7, the baby split for left-handers. Need to hit the 2-pin on the left, have the ball deflected into the 7. Pretty shot.
Well, that's a clutch shot, a key shot for Choder, trying to maintain at least an even pace.
And we're going to see it from our RoboCam up above. Watch the ball hit the 2-pin and deflect into the 7, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. Pros should make it at about at least a 50% clip.
To go a little longer for him on lane 21. Excellent comeback shot, though, in the 5th for Choder.
Handegard up on lane 22, taking his first re-rack. He's allowed 2.
Only the second re-rack of the night. Darrell Curtis chose to utilize one a little earlier. It looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, it looks all right to me. I'd shoot it.
Good shot.
Again, that weak 10, just not finishing. Just, the ball just laying there, not enough power to knock out that weak 10.
Nice acceleration through the target.
Right now, though, the way that ball's hitting, you know, if he gets tight, it's a 4-pin. If he hits there, it's a 10-pin. The only place he has to strike is absolutely dead perfect flush or the wall shot hit. Because it just won't knock out that weak 10 from that angle. No trouble.
Well, we chatted with him about ball weights and what he might be attacking the lanes with this evening.
And he told us he's using a ball with about 1.5 ounces top weight that's on top of the ball, and what we call a 1/2 ounce negative weight done with axis weight. In other words, we drill a hole in the axis of the track on the opposite side of the ball to create weight away from the pocket. And the purpose for that is the lanes are tight and it gets the ball into a roll sooner. Oh, he carries it. What a break. There's Choder with the towel over his face.
Opposite ends of the spectrum there. Handegard with a smile. Choder in disbelief.
Right through the heart of the pins. He says, heck with the pocket. It won't carry. Let's try the nose. And no sophistication here. These guys not looking away. Everybody's looking. Choder goes,
ah, Mamma mia, he says. No way can that strike. Well, Choder working on a strike in the 5th could double up in a lead by 11.
Again, soft. He gave it room. He just threw it too slow. 2, 4, 7, 8. Not the easiest spare in the world. The only thing good is he didn't lose any count. And again, he's just steering it here and soft on the speed. Cuts right through the heart. Now, he's not switching balls at this spare den. The reason is he has to get that 8-pin in the back.
Needs the extra hook power?
Right.
Gives it some room. Oh, classy shot for Choder. And obviously his wife much appreciative of the effort.
And again, I repeat, I don't want to be redundant, but it's the first one who doubles, I think, is going to win this match. As we see him hit the 2-4 perfectly and convert the spare the exact way it should be done. She's looking at it. Don't hook too much? All right. Talking to himself there.
Got that one way out on the lane, and I was going to say, if that one comes back, I'll be the most surprised person in the building.
Well, what it does is he makes this, we have a dead even match.
Well, what else do you want for a title game?
Right, both players going in a 197 clip with 3.5 frames to go.
Neither player has ever won on the national tour.
Schroeder at the 9-pin. We'll see what Handegard can do. I actually think that he's lined up better on lane 22 than he is on 21.
Last shot, he threw a touch right and hit a little light and left the soft 10.
Right.
Left the 4-pin the shot before.
And there we see his record on television, 1-7, and he says it's not good, but I just want to improve it by 1 game.
You don't have to be a mathematical genius to realize if he does, he's in the winner's circle.
Will it carry? Yes. Up by 10. And now needs to put it together to really put pressure on Schroeder. He needs one more. Can't make a mistake now. I mean, I've watched him all week long, too. And every time in these situations, he threw 2 in a row. I mean, he backed it up with another strike on the left lane. He'd be going along the lane, fidgeting, and then he put 3 in a row together. Pretty.
Perfect shot for Handegard, who has taken control in this one and maybe is going to scale the highest mountain of his career.
Well, we'll see what Schroeder does now. Don't count this guy out. A little more speed. It's right there.
Beautiful adjustment with the speed, and you picked that up nicely, Michael.
He got this ball over the foul line, a little crisper delivery. And the ball goes further down the lane and then finishes solid in the 1-2. And right now, Denny, he's throwing the most important, as we see his reaction, the most important shot of the week and maybe of his career right here in the 9th frame.
Good roll.
Oh, what a break. What a break. The 1-pin has to hit the 3 for him to strike, and it barely hit the 3, Dan. It just clipped the top. Watch the head pin and the 3-pin. It just clipped it, and that's what we call a bucket crumbler. But it reduces Handegard's lead to 10. It makes him get another strike.
Turned it early.
Oh.
Turned it a little early. You could see it coming off his hand, and disaster is struck for Handegard. You can see it in his eyes.
Oh, one mistake. Watch the hand. See the hand turn on the way down. Pointed at the nose. He didn't give it the room. Leaves the 4, 6, 7. Best he can do is just hope to bounce something around. And he did, but it didn't come out.
Very unfortunate turn of events for John Handegard, who
was in a position to dictate his own destiny and wasn't able to come up with a shot that he needed in the ninth.
And he goes from 10 ahead to 5 behind, just like that. But he's not out of the match if he can throw this first strike in the 10.
Those marvelous numbers provided all summer long by the hardest working lady in show business, Betsy Lawrence, our Chiron operator. Marvelous job. Good speed.
And he gets the strike.
And a little double team there on the 7-pin, so one more puts him in the 210-plus range.
One more can win the tournament for him, Dan. This puts him ahead. I mean, we said that Choder was throwing the biggest shot of his career in the 9th frame. This is the biggest shot of Handegard's career right here in the second one in the 10th. If he strikes, then Choder would need the first one in the 10th to win. Gave it too much room. And basically what it means is Alan Choder is going to need to count 16 in the 10th frame to win his first PBA title.
Contemplating the future, realizing now that, boy, it sounds so easy. Count 16, a spare and 6 will win you your first title, but it's a lot easier said than done.
Well, it's 8 spare 8, 7 spare 9. Combination like this, strike is what he's thinking then.
Key word is mark at this point. Well, Handegard has to be pleased with the first, maybe the first 8 frames of the title game, but in the 9th, the major miscue.
Well, it's not over. Who knows what Alan Choder's going to do here.
Well, he threw the shot of his life, I would imagine there. Couldn't throw it any better.
No, but he's still got to keep it on the lane here.
I think even I could perhaps keep it on the lane. What a marvelous week in performance for Alan Choder of Canoga Park, California. The winner of the 1989 $75,000 Hammer Senior PBA Championship. The tears of victory. Ah, yes, they'll never forget.
Unbelievable. People are knocking down the doors and falling head over heels to get ESPN's Biff Bam Boom Anything Goes bloopers video cassettes. But you don't have to fight the crowds or even get out in all that traffic because you can get your own exclusive copy of the amazing Biff Bam Boom Anything Goes bloopers free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated, the weekly sports magazine that covers all the sports better than all the rest. Always hard-hitting, these high-flying bloopers are 45 minutes of the silliest slap-happy sights you've ever seen or heard. You'll go round and round, up and down, through the fence, across the street, and over the wall. You'll bounce here, there, and everywhere, from one sport to another, all over the world. But don't let your guard down for a second. You have to be ready for it all, because nothing beats ESPN's Biff Bam Boom Anything Goes bloopers.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
People will do almost anything to see what happens when anything goes, but all you have to do is call this number now to get it all free from Sports Illustrated. And if you call now, not only will you get this great videotape free, you'll also get SI's 35th anniversary edition. It's an all-star look at almost 4 decades of sports. Then you'll get a beautiful start of the new decade with the 1990 edition of the famous swimsuit issue. Filled with sunny surprises, it's included free with your subscription. Plus, you get season previews of your favorite sports and the excitement of SI every week. And you save almost 50% off the cover price. You pay in 3 monthly installments of only $9.95 each, and you can charge it. That's 21 issues in all, including the free swimsuit issue. Call the number on your screen now and save on SI and get the amazing Biff Bam Boom Anything Goes bloopers and the swimsuit issue free. Plus SI's anniversary issue and all the action of Sports Illustrated every week.